Hello and welcome to lesson 4. This lesson is part of a mini course that's known as Getting Started in Cybersecurity. So you're watching lesson 4, which is kind of the last lesson of this mini course. Now, if this is your first time watching this, or if you're watching this from YouTube, just go ahead and check the course description, the description section. And then you will see a link that will take you to the website where you can watch the rest of this lesson. It's free, there's no charge. And if this is your first time here, please smash that subscribe button so that I can grow this YouTube community. I have a lot of plans for you guys. The more of you that subscribe, that will tell me that you are enjoying my content, and therefore I should be kind of pushing out more content for you, more free content on YouTube for you. So please smash that subscribe button, and then let's get right into it. So this is lesson 4, like I just said. And if we can take a look at the roadmap of what we're going to be talking about here, we are going to talk about quite a few things. And I believe everything that's here is very valuable for you. If you pay attention and then you start putting what I'm going to be talking to you about into action, there is no reason why you're not going to be successful in terms of achieving your cybersecurity goals and getting into that cybersecurity industry. So the first thing I want to talk about is exactly the problem. So what is the problem? What is the current state of cybersecurity? You're not going to hear that from me. You're going to hear that from the people who are actually doing the research in companies, organizations, research facilities, right? Folks like Verizon and M-Trends and IBM. I want you to hear from these guys so you can see where we are in cybersecurity. If it's cybersecurity, it's going to be a solved problem, or if we're just getting started. So we're going to take a look at the problem, why we need you in cybersecurity. Then after that, we're going to take a look at the security gap. Often a lot of people talk about there's a lot of openings in cybersecurity. Well, is that true? We will take a look at that, and then we'll see what the data says about that. Then I will dive into the top 5 cybersecurity career path that you can specialize in. Literally. In fact, I'll give you the trends as well. So I'll give you the mature, the mature career path. Then I'll give you the trend. Some of the things that if you focus on them, they're going to be like the future of cybersecurity. So keep an eye on that. And then if you are ready to get started today, which is what the title of this module is, this lesson is, getting started today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Today. So if you're ready to get started today, I will dive into the basics. I will tell you the kind of basics that you need to master so that you can build your cybersecurity career on the strong foundation. So that's going to be fun. From there, we're going to dive into the skills that the hiring managers are looking for. Now, I just don't want you to get that out of, I don't want that to be my opinion. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Indeed. We're going to search for job descriptions. And then we're going to kind of pick up a few jobs, and so you can get to see the kind of skills, cybersecurity skills that these hiring managers are looking for, so they can kind of start hammering down those as well. And then we're going to take a look at the getting certified. There's a lot of opinion. There's a lot of, if you were to ask people, hey, should I get a certification? Should I get a degree? Should I go to a boot camp? Everybody will have a different answers for you. So what I will do, I'll give you my opinion. I'll give you my answers to this very important question. So this is really going to answer your question about how you are going to obtain your skills. In fact, the Biden-Harris administration, they just came out with something that I'm going to show you that really going to help me answer that question for you. So stay tuned for that. And then we're going to dive into getting some hands-on experience. Most people who come into cybersecurity, some of them are just so focused on certifications. Some of them already have degrees, and they're still not getting jobs. And they wonder, oh my God, what's going on? I got the cert, I got the degree, and now I'm not. Look, they're going to hire you because you know what to do, right? Not just because of some piece of paper. I'm saying that as somebody who's doing a PhD in cybersecurity right now, but also as somebody who do this, security training and helping people get certified. So there is there is power to my madness, right? So I will give you all my opinion regarding certifications, degrees, and hands-on experiences. But I will tell you how and where you should go get those hands-on experiences as well. There's also a hands-on course that I'm developing. You should kind of keep an eye on that. I'll be posting the video of that on YouTube for you for free. But if you want to kind of dig a little bit deeper, the rest of those are going to be on the website as well. And then you got, bug bounties. Bug bounties are really interesting. And I should probably be putting check marks on this. Bug bounties are really interesting. This is where the company basically pays you to get experience. So what happens is, companies have realized that cybersecurity, it's a major problem. And what they did, they have published their platforms, their websites. And then they ask everybody, they ask the community, hey, find bugs, find issues, vulnerabilities in our websites, in our applications or platforms. And then once you find that, we want you to report that back to us. Right? If you report that back to us, depends on how critical that thing is, we're going to pay you some money. So I'll show you some platforms that you may want to get started right into if you want to start making money as you're getting experience. It's another way, one of the best way to get experience with bug bounties. Because what you do, you pick some of our application, you start, hacking it, you start doing all kinds of things to it, so you can find some vulnerabilities, you can find some bugs. And then for the people who've done all the hard work, you've done your hands-on, you got the degree, you got the certification, and you're still not getting, you're applying and you're still not being called, or you're trying to break in, I'll give you this, right? They start a blog. That advice, I've given this advice to somebody who lives in Tanzania. Tanzania is a country in East Africa. So I gave that advice to somebody who lives in Tanzania, and they were able, utilizing that, they were able to literally get a cybersecurity job. All right. So what that is starting a blog. What that is you're documenting your progress. What you're going to do is you're working with Nmap. You are doing some bug bounties, and you just capture this thing. You going in there, you are documenting that experience. You're saying, hey, I've done this, and these are the things that I've learned. So if your writing is not your superpower, record a video. Post that video on LinkedIn, post that video on, I will share some of, a few places that you can do that from. And then I also tell people, you work for free. Yeah, you're like, okay, I'm gonna just turn off this video right now. Really, like if there's a church, there's a nonprofit organization that's near you, volunteer to give your skills to them for free. That's another way of building that experience, and you can include all of that on your resume. That's the beauty. And last but not least, it's about who you know, not what you know. So we're going to talk about network and how to networking and how to market yourself. I always tell people that it doesn't matter how good you are. If people don't know you're that good, then they can really hire you because they don't know that. Right? The worst product can sell if the marketing is right. So you got to walk in these rooms, shaking hands, and then market yourself. And then tell them, look, I'm new, but these are the things that I'm working on. These are my passions. You will be surprised. You will be surprised the amount of people that's going to open the door for you because of that reason. This is a lot. It sounds like a lot, but hopefully I'll be quickly. Let's get right into it. Okay, so first thing first, the problem. What is the current state of cybersecurity? Well, the problem, if you were to sit around with people who are trying to get into cybersecurity, they're going to tell you all kind of horror stories, right? It's like, oh, look, I've been studying for 10 months and I can't really break in. I've met some of those people, right? And on the other hand, you're like, okay, well, I went to school, I got even a master's degree, and I can't really break into cybersecurity. What's going on here? I've met those people as well. But here's what the problem is. The problem is skilled trend stuff. See, just taking a certification training and then passing a certification, that does not mean you are skilled. Right? That does not mean you know what you're supposed to be doing. So there is a combination of knowledge and practicing what you're learning that have to be combined for you to become really good. So the problem is not that they're not there. The jobs are there. I can assure you that. Cybersecurity jobs are there. but do you have the skills though? Right? Can you actually do the job? So that's really where the big problem is. I have not seen anybody who's really good on cybersecurity who doesn't have a job. Nada, zero, right? The people who are struggling to find a job are the people who bought into this. Let me just get it certified, and then they're gonna just open the door for me. It's not that simple. Certifications helps. Trust me, they open the doors for you. In fact, in government agencies, government jobs, they can't even hire you unless you have things like Security Plus. Certifications are really, really good. But I'm here to tell you, you got to get certified, get the knowledge, but also apply some of the things that you're learning. And then I will be sharing with you how you do that exactly. Okay. So as a part of that problem, as a part of that, I want to take a look at what the industry says. So what does the industry says? When you look at when you take a look at the Mandiant M Trend, the 2024 report, this literally just came out, I think, like a week ago. What they said here, and I will show you the report in a minute. They said that the global dwell time is 10 days. Dwell time is how long is the enemy in your network, in your environment, in your cloud environment, without you knowing that they're there. Like, so how long, right? And here they said 10 days. Question for you. What can a bad guy in your environment can do in 10 days without you knowing? They can do a lot. So this is the minimum, right? This is the minimum. Before we can detect them, before we even know that they're in our environment for about 10 days. This is based on a Mandiant. Mandiant is a company, Google recently bought them, but they're the best of the best. They're really good when it comes to cybersecurity. And in this M Trend report that they produce every year, we all read that. Really good cybersecurity people read that report. Like, you got to read that report, right? Because these guys really know what they're doing. The dwell time, though, is going down. When you take a look at 2022, it was 16 days, but now we're going down to 10 days. But here's the problem, though. Whenever you get hit with something like a ransomware attack, you don't have 10 days. Right? With a ransomware, for those who doesn't know what that is, a ransom is when they get into your computer, they encrypt your data, they encrypt your hard drive, and then they ask you for some money. It's like, hey, look, they basically hold your computer hostage. And then there's just a pop-up message on the screen that says, send us this much money, and then we're going to give you the description key. We're going to give you the key to unlock your computer, right? So a ransom is when they hold your computer hostage, they ask you for some money, before they can give you the key to unlock it. Now, 70% of all the attacks, 70% of all the attacks on these so-called ransomware attacks, where organization knew about that from external sources. This is even like very, very bad, because when they attack you, you're supposed to know right there then. Now, when your computer gets infected with the ransom, you're supposed to know right there then. But companies are so bad; they don't have a skilled people to the point where whoever they've outsourced their security to, that MSP, we call this MSP, managed service provider. These companies have to let you know. These third-party companies have to let you know, hey, look, you're really under attack. So not good at all. That's Mandiant, and let me go ahead and just show you the study here, right there. So if you can go to Mandiant here, this is the M Trend report, and I'll put this in the resource section for you all as well. I'll put the link there, and you can just download this. And if you want the full report, it's going to be in the description as well. So this is what I was talking about. This literally just came out. Dwell time, 10 days, right? And then it goes on and kind of highlights some of the things that you need to know, and including that 70% of the ransom, and they're gonna the common way that the attacker have got into your environment. Basically, tell you how bad the problem is, right? And the problem is not getting any better. Yes, here the dwell time is going down. The how long it takes for them to stay in your environment before you can even detect them, but there is some nuance to that as well. When I'm teaching, I go into details about that. But for now, just know that the problem is there, and the problem is not getting any better. All right. Another research that's really, really interesting is the IBM one. Let's get to that one. And this one is the total cost of a data breach. How much does it cost? How much does it cost? Well, when a company gets breached, how much does it cost them? When you scroll down a little bit here, again, I'll put the link in the description. You can see that the global average, global average cost of a data breach in 2023 was 4.4, used to be 4.5, $4.4 million, right? 15 increase over 3 years, 15 increase over 3 years lifespan. As you can see, companies are dying for skilled cybersecurity people who actually know what they're doing. Those people are very in demand, right? And you're like, whoa, hold on a minute. What are you trying to say? Like, really, really yes, there are in demand. Even the White House just came out, like literally 29th of April 2024. I'm recording this 2nd of May. They just released this press release, and then it's known as a National Cyber Director, whatever that is. And what they said is how they need to train the people who are going to secure the nation. And check this out. They say that more than 500,000 cybersecurity jobs are open. More than 500,000 of these jobs are open. This is true. It was even ISC Square came up with literally the same number. I'll be showing you that in a minute. And then here's what the White House says. They can't wait for you to go to school for 4 years to be really good on cybersecurity. So what they did for federal government, they're going to drop the requirement of requiring people to have degrees. This is huge. Like we've been waiting for this for a long time. This is huge. So I'll put this in the description too, but they said that they're going to be hiring people based on the skill-based hiring, which means if you have a certification and you know what you're doing, there's nothing that's going to stop you from getting a government job. And guess who's the biggest employer of cybersecurity people in the US? The government, right? As long as you know your stuff. The biggest issue used to be, oh, you must have a 4-year degree, you must have a 2-year degree. They recently just dropped all that, and they said it doesn't matter how you've gotten those skills. It doesn't matter if you stay in college for 4 years. They don't even care about that no more. As long as you know what you're doing, they're gonna be able to hire you, right? So this is really good. I will encourage you to read up on this. And then what they did, they're gonna invest about $4 million. If you read over this, you get to see it. $440 million into things like apprenticeships. Amazing apprenticeships. And they've also encouraged some companies to invest as well. So these companies are going to be investing in apprenticeships. In another word, is that if you're trying to get into cybersecurity, they're going to allow you to work at Cisco. So you're going to shadow people who works at Cisco for who knows whatever long, and then learn it that way. I think apprenticeships is one of the best way of learning. I teach, and then I help people get certified. But I'm here to tell you, if you can shadow me and what I do on day in and day out for about two weeks to 1 month, you're going to be knowing everything I know. You're going to know everything that I know how to do within that 1 month, pretty much. And that's what they're trying to focus on. And these are the majority of the companies. I like this because, look, we live in the age of AI. Memorizing things, it's going to become really useless at some point. What they need to do, they need to speed up. Right? They got to skilled people as fast as they can. And I'm glad even the White House is recognizing this, because some of us have been yelling this for years, but nobody was listening. So that's the White House. But when we take a look at the Verizon, one more report, then yeah, I'm just going to give you, this is the last one. when we take a look at the Verizon investigation report, it's one of the most respected report in our space in cybersecurity. It's known as the Data Breach Investigation Report. It come out every year. We love it. And here's what they said. 14% of all the breaches involved some kind of exploitation of vulnerabilities or weaknesses. as an initial access. This actually makes sense because last year we had what's known as a MOVID attack. It was a zero-day attack. A zero-day attack is an attack where they tend to say uh, the vendor doesn't know that vulnerability exists. Right? They don't know that vulnerability exists. So usually the reason why they call this a 0 day is because the vendor, the creator of that software, that tool, have a 0 day to mitigate that vulnerability. Like they don't have time. Like they need to fix it like yesterday. That's why we call this a 0 day. Anyway, there was this tool known as a MOVIT, which was used pretty much everywhere, like in entertainment companies. So hackers found a 0 day in that tool and they were exploiting that like crazy everywhere. So that's really what this increase it's all about. But as you can see, 68% of all the attacks involved some kind of a human making errors. You can see that ransomware is still on the rise. Like for every ransomware, there's like that many, thousands of dollars for every ransom breach. Again, if you want to look at the full report, is here. I'll put the link in the description for you so you can take a look at the findings. I'm showing you this to tell you that the problem have not gotten any better. Right? That's the reason why I'm showing you all this. The cybersecurity problem is huge. It's not solved, and it's not going to be solved anytime soon. So I'll leave you with this. With the right tools, one good cybersecurity engineer, cybersecurity analyst can do the job of 100 mediocre ones. Right? Literally. Right? So the reason why you're not getting hired is because skills. You got to know what you're doing. And the cyber is a little bit hard, right? And you got to have that little patience as you're trying to, to break in. All right, with that, let's keep going. So here is the skills gap. The White House said that there's over 500,000 open positions in the US. When we take a look at the skills gap, the ISC Square Global Workforce Study, which they do this every year, we can see that there's pretty much that, right? There's over pretty much like 4 million open position globally. Globally. So even if you're like in Africa, cybersecurity is growing like crazy in places like in these, developing countries. So the problem is huge. In fact, let me bring up this study here. Bring up the study so you get to see it. I think I have a link here. Yeah, I do. That's good. So this is the study. Again, I'll put the link in the description so you get to see it. They also do this every year. ISC Square, they are the creator of the ISSP, so pretty respected organization. And they go out there, they do this study, they tell you like the skills that's in demand, and they tell you the shortage of cybersecurity professional. So what I was showing you, or that screenshot came from here. Here we are. Oh, that's last year. But if I keep going down, there we go. We can see it. This is it here. Then you can see the skills gap based on the regions, right? Europe, North America, Africa, Asia. Cybersecurity, it's a global problem. Getting into it, you will be doing yourself a favor. I often tell people that cybersecurity will never be a solved problem as long as they have computers and they're working with computers. They're going to always need people who can protect these computer systems. Globally, as you just saw, we need all the help we can get, and cyber is here to stay. Okay, so now let's take a look at the top 5 cybersecurity career path that you can specialize in. All right, if you're just getting started, what are some of the career paths that you can kind of dive in? Well, the first one is engineering. Those who like, I want to be the engineer. Well, here we are. You can become a cybersecurity engineer, and this is the person who kind of deals with engineering stuff, like architecting stuff. We are trying to migrate into the cloud, and you are the engineer who kind of go in and engineer the whole thing, right? Kind of putting all the pieces together. The firewalls are going to go here, the IDS, all kinds of things. You will put those things into place for us. So if you're that type of a person who enjoy like technical challenges, this will be your path for you. Some of the jobs you can do here, it's a security engineer. You can be like a cloud security engineer, network security engineer, application security engineer. Basically, you're that technical person, that engineer who kind of goes in and solve those complex problems for the organization. You can also become a tester. All right, once an environment is already in place, all right, you're neither designing the environment or doing anything like that. No, that's the job of the engineers. Well, once the environment is in place, you're the tester. This is where things like penetration testing comes in, things like vulnerability scanning comes in, security auditors, people who goes in and audit the environment comes in. That's a career path that you can specialize in. A lot of people enjoy pen testing because penetration testing is hacking. You're going in, you're actually hacking the environment. Vulnerability assessment is really easy, right? All you do, you're using some kind of a tool, and then you're scanning the environment, and then that tool is telling you, look, these are the vulnerabilities that we have. Are you using something like a Nessus, Nmap can be used, OpenVAS, Rapid7 have some tools that you can use for vulnerability scanning, right? Another career path is becoming an analyst. Most people who trying to get into the cybersecurity industry, they try to go in as the analyst, becoming like a SOC analyst, security analyst. What these people do, they look at the patterns. So these are the first line of defense. These are the first line of defense. Whenever the company is doing what they do day in and day out, these are the people who keep an eye on everything. And then whenever they see something that doesn't look normal, they have the intelligence, right? And they have the resources, they have access to the tools that helps them look at the abnormal, look at the things that's not normal, look at the patterns, right? And then be like, okay, well, that's not normal. Why that's here? And then go ahead and just do some kind of investigations. You can also become a responder, part of that incident response, threat hunting. It's here. Forensic analysts are here, right? Basically, SOC analysts are going to see a problem, and most of the time they're going to escalate that problem to the incident responder. It's like, hey, there is an incident, you deal with it, you respond to it. So forensic people go in and they start analyzing the hard drive, they start looking at the artifacts, try to figure out exactly what happened. An incident responder comes in and they're like, you know what, let's stop the bleed. Let's go ahead into the process of responding to the incident. Let's make sure that companies can still operate while we are investigating this war or while we are responding to this attack. Last but not least, you can become an auditor. The thing about these other jobs, the thing that they have in common is that they're all technical. See, that's why cybersecurity is a little bit harder because most of it's technical. You got to get your hands dirty, put your hands on the keyboard. But with one exception, and that's auditing. Auditing are people who deals with what we normally call GRC. GRC are governance, risk, and compliance. These people, they develop policies. Right? They develop policies, procedures. Majority of auditing people, they like to become the manager. They like those management positions, right? But as an auditor, your job is to assess the organization, see if the policies are in place. If the engineer is telling you, hey, the firewall have been configured the right way, and then I've put all these controls, so these ACL, we call those ACL, access control list. I've put all these controls in place. Well, the auditor, it's like, okay, well, show me. They don't have to be the ones configuring the firewall, but they're going to ask the engineer, hey, show me, prove it to me that these things are in place. The only issue with auditing, it's a little bit boring. It's the boring stuff that is necessary. And it also, all these jobs, they pay really well. They all pay really well. So these are the kind of the mature career path. And you cannot really go wrong with any one of these. You just got to pick one and then dive right in. As you're picking this, there's also teams. There's also teams that we have in cyber. There's red. If you become a part of the red teamer, that means you're a penetration tester. That's your kind of a jam. So all you do, you're looking for vulnerabilities. You find weaknesses into computer systems. Basically, you're a good person who knows how to do bad things. Bad things. Right? So red teamer, good people who knows how to do bad things. Like 20% of all the jobs, 15%, 20%, give or take, it's in red teaming. Now, these are penetration testers. These are ethical hackers. Then you have your blue teamers. Blue teamers are the offense. Excuse me. Blue teamers are the defense. Red is the offense. Blue is the defense. So big companies, what they do, they will hire a red teaming team, like a private consulting company, and they tell them, hey, you guys come on and attack us. And then a blue team, which is their own people, they're going to be defending. So it's like playing soccer with the red and blue. One person is attacking, another person is defending. And then that's really what kind of a take place there. 85% of all the jobs are in the blue team. So when you become a security analyst, engineer, response auditor, it's all part of the blue team. Because our job is to make sure the company does what the company does without any interruption. Right? That's really what we do in blue teaming side of things. You can also become purple. You're like, oh, who the heck is purple? Well, a purple teamer is somebody who knows a little bit of red, a little bit of blue. These people are really valuable for small companies because once you specialize into blue or red, you become really good at one, and they have to pay you a lot of money. They have to pay you a lot of money. But if you're just getting started, you might be part of that purple teamer, somebody who knows a little bit of blue, a little bit of red. Besides, I always encourage people to start with the purple because really good blue teamers know a little bit of red. And the really good red teamers know a little bit of blue. So for you to attack a system, you got to know how that system can be, you got to know what you're attacking. Right? And the same thing with the blue. If you're going to be protecting a system, you need to know the kind of things, the kind of doors that the bad guys can open to get in so that you can close those doors. Then you have your white teaming. White teamer, these are the managers. These are the GRC people, the people who set the rules, people who tell people what to do, basically. Right. So again, this is how we sort of like classify this career path, but there is a trend. There's a trend. If you're just getting started right now, right, and then you haven't really been studying, you just kind of heard about cybersecurity, and you're like, okay, which one should I focus on? Well, this is the trend. This is where I and a lot of the research that I've done have pointed to, and that's these right here. One of the things that you can focus on is cloud security. By 2028, 2027, actually, Gartner is a very research kind of a respected company. What they did, they said that cloud is going to become a necessity. So cloud for companies, it's not going to be just another tool, just another platform to put their stuff into. No. Every company is going to have to be using some sort of a cloud of some sort of somewhere. I can't even think of a company right now that doesn't use some kind of a cloud service. If you use Gmail, it's in the cloud. So cloud is everywhere. So you can specialize in cloud security. Really, really important. And I will be developing a course for that as well. Machine learning and artificial intelligence, I cannot not talk about this because this is everywhere. This is everywhere. And then you get people that are telling you, look, AI is coming for your job. Listen up, folks. AI is not coming for your security jobs. These AI systems themselves, they need to be secure. And what I've heard somebody smarter than me say was that artificial intelligence is not coming for your job, but somebody using artificial intelligence is coming for your job. So a person who understands machine learning and AI, they're coming for your job, not the AI itself. So specializing in artificial intelligence, it's no brainer. This is where the industry is heading, not just cybersecurity. Every other industry will be touched by AI. So for you to familiarize yourself with some sort of like AI, that would be great. Right now, the company I work for, I'm trying to get them to pay for my AI training, like one of the AI training. right? And as soon as they pay for that thing, I'm taking that thing and I'm going all in. But even before then, there's a lot of AI other stuff that I do on the side as well, just so I can stay ahead. GRC. You cannot go wrong with the GRC. Right? These AI are coming, cybersecurity is here. We need people who can set the rules. So governance is very important. You can specializing into governance, becoming an auditor. There's a bunch of compliance documents that companies have to comply with. PCI DSS, HIPAA, GDPR, you name it. There's a lot of piece of papers that they have to comply with, and your job is to see if the company is complying with that piece of paper. If they're not, you hold them accountable, right? Internet of Things, IoT security. This one is another one that's really huge. And the reason is there's a lot of so-called smart stuff that's coming into the market. We have self-driving cars, your refrigerator are becoming smart, your microwave are becoming smart. So this is good for us, folks, in cybersecurity. This is good for us. The more of these so-called smart appliances, the smart things that they put on the internet, the more exposed these things are going to become, and the more they're going to need you to keep them secure. So specializing in IoT security will be great. I have a friend who did a PhD in IoT, and he works for Microsoft now, and he's making over $300,000 a year. He's a researcher. Yeah, he's a researcher, so he's doing pretty good for himself. Zero trust security. This is huge. And I'm teaching Security Plus. We talk about zero trust because you can run away from zero trust now. Even President Biden signed an executive order that said every government agency needs to start implementing zero trust. Right? This is that important. So going in and specializing in zero trust security, it's very, very critical. Quantum computing. This one wasn't into a lot of research, but I put it this right here because I'm doing a PhD right now, and we just came from a residency, and the school that I go to, they just literally introduced the quantum implication of a quantum computing on cybersecurity. They just introduced a master's degree on the implications of quantum computing on cyber. If you know one or two things about cybersecurity, you know that quantum computer, once they become a reality, cybersecurity is going to be in trouble, specifically cryptography, right? Cryptography, the security of the internet as we know it, it's going to be questioned, right? So this is huge, 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 huge. It's a lot of investments. It's not as sexy as AI right now, but if you know a kid who is in high school and they're like, oh, I love computers, I want to get point them into that direction. 5 years from now, they're going to thank you for it. 10 years from now, they're going to thank you for it. That was a lot of talking, but all I'm trying to tell you is that you got to specialize in something. And these are the career path, and you cannot go wrong with either one of these. So once we got all those out of the way, and then I'm going to try to go a little bit faster. This video is becoming a little bit longer than I wanted. So you got to master your basics. Let's say that you said, okay, look, Francois, I want to get started. Today is the day. I want to dive right in and start studying. Well, I would say start with your basics. Some people tend to skip these, and I always tell them you got to slow down, because if you skip the basics, you're going to have you're going to have a hard time mastering the other stuff. Because cybersecurity is like building a house. When you're building a house, you want to build a house on a very strong foundation, right? And if you build a house on a weak foundation, you know what happens to that house. So the thing about cybersecurity, you continuously learn stuff. And if you don't have the terminologies, the words that we use in cybersecurity, it's going to get a little bit harder for you. So when we're talking about mastering your basics, the king of basics is Mr. Comp TIA. All right, the king of the basics is Mr. Comp TIA. They have a certifications that have been around for a very, very long time. One of them is called A+. A+. This one focuses on hardware, computing hardware, mobile devices hardware, and software. Your Windows, your Linux, your Mac, it's all in A+. And then before A+, they even have another one. This one used to be called ITF. ITF. Starting this year, they changed the name to Tech Plus. Tech Plus, which I think sounds nicer than ITF, but Tech Plus. Um, and this Tech Plus basically introduce you to the world of IT, give you the terminologies, like pretty much the languages, the terms. So if you completely beginner into the world of IT, I will highly encourage you to start with a Tech Plus. And then once you understand, the terminologies here, and then the hardware and the software, then the next thing to know is computer networking. You need to know how two computers talk to each other. That's important. When somebody were to call you right now, what are the things that that conversation have to go through to get to you? So that's networking, and they have Network Plus. So looking at the Tech Plus, but before we take a look at that, I just want to mention that on the platform, I'm gonna have courses on all of these. So if you pick up the subscription, you're gonna have a kind of access to these. But even if you don't, if you just want to grab one of these, I'll also have a way for you to just grab one of these. So these are being developed as we speak. So the Tech Plus is not out yet, but because we as instructors, talk to CompTIA, they give us early access to these things. So therefore, I have a draft for the exam objective of this Tech Plus, and they're just gonna kind of introduce this to you. And if you scroll down a little bit here, you can see some of the things that's going to be part of this, including IT concepts and then terminologies, infrastructure, application and software, right? Software development, data and databases, and of course, security. This is important, folks. This is important, especially if you're just getting started, you're completely beginner, you got to start here. You're not going to regret it, right? And as far as A plus goes, this is it right here. A plus have two exams. So there's the hardware one and there's the software one. And then also I will be having a course on this, try to kind of help you master this, but also pass these exams on the first try. There's also Network Plus. If I go back to certifications and click on Networking Plus right there, you can see that Network Plus also have one exam. So they're kind of transitioning to 009. That's the newest one, and that's the one that's going to be on the platform as well. So I'll start there, start with your Tech Plus, A Plus, the Net Plus, and then build your knowledge from there. Okay. All right, so what other things that you need to be aware of? Well, I mentioned networking. Another thing that you can do, and this is it's going to be part of these courses as well, these certifications, is scripting. Scripting is important. You need to know how to automate some things. Python is good. Bash scripting is also great, and then PowerShell. So this is kind of important. You don't have to be the programmer. You don't have to be like the PowerShell guru or Python developer. No, just the basics. Just the basics is enough. Now, obviously, you need to know about applications, things like domain name system or services, email, SMTP, Active Directory, web, and you got to know some of the common applications that we work with so that if you're doing the bug bounties or anything like that, what, the kind of applications that you're dealing with. So what skills are they looking for? Well, one of the tricks that I've told a lot of my students is to find about 3 jobs. Go on a job search engine, something like Indeed, which I'm going to be demonstrating in a minute here. Find about 3 to 5 jobs. It could be remote or it could be in your city. And then write it down, the skills that keeps coming up. So if you search for security analyst, for example, and then you keep seeing things like SIEM, like SIEM came up on the first job, and the second job, and the third job. That's the skill you need to study. Right? That's the skill that you need to be learning. Now, I'm saying this as a way of kind of the things you need to practice. Right? Things that you need to put your hands-on experience into, because the certifications are going to give you like the overview. It's like a broad general knowledge, but you want to specialize in a few things, a few skills, so that we can have the things to put on the resume. And there's no better way of doing this other than going to the job search engines and then start there, because these are the actual job that you can apply for. But I've also put it together some of the technical skills that you need to be aware of when you come into cybersecurity. Intrusion detection and prevention systems are great. SIEM, security information and event management. This is when you're becoming an analyst. This is really, really important. Endpoint detection and response, extended detection and response, SOAR, security, orchestration, and automation and response. I think that's what that stands for. Again, if you don't know what these are, that's where you go into things like Security Plus, because I teach you all these things. And cloud security is important to vulnerability assessment, pen testing. Like I mentioned about all these right here. These are all great skills to be aware of. Now, there's also soft skills. Some people might be good at these already. You got to have an analytical mind, especially if you're going to become like a SOC analyst. You got to have an analytical mind. You got to look at the problem with a different eye, right? And then you got to be somebody who can pay attention to details. Some people don't do that. Then when you don't pay attention to details, some things might fly by you, and companies are not going to be very happy with you. Problem solving skills, absolutely, and communication, obviously. Some people have a trouble communicating this technical stuff to the management, to their colleagues, and the like. So these are the soft skills that you must possess. So let me go ahead and just kind of demonstrate this quickly for you. So let's say that we go to Indeed. Guys, I'm pretty much done. I'm almost done here. We're almost done. So if I go to Indeed here and then search for cloud security, for example, and I'm going to put in remote. Again, you can put a city where you're located. Look at this. There's over 300 jobs that are remote. And the first one here is cloud security engineer. This is actually a new one. They're paying, over $120,000. Our jobs, you can negotiate. You can tell them this is how much I want you to pay me. But if you're becoming a cloud security engineer, I'm not saying that's what you're going to start with. You can. It really depends on how hard, how hungry you are, and how deep you want to dive in. If you're that type of my overachievers, right? If you're that type of person, you're like, you know what? I'm coming in, I'm coming all in. And then you get it all in. You get yourself a mentor, you get yourself somebody who's doing cloud security to kind of mentor you, to kind of hold your hand as you're doing it. There's no doubt that you can be making this much money. Anyway, so you take a look at the job description here, you start seeing some of the things that they're looking for, right? They're looking for experience with cloud security platforms such as SNAC, CSPM, and the like, CI/CD, right? 5 years of working experience with AWS. Again, don't let these 5 years deter you. A lot of cybersecurity jobs, these hiring managers, they don't know what they're looking for. I've seen jobs where I'm like, okay, you have no clue what you're looking for. So basically, just make sure you're comfortable with what they're asking you. And then if you've done everything that I'm going to be talking about, you have your documentation, you have your lab ready, like you have proof that you've done this kind of stuff. They're going to give you a shot. Trust me, because that's exactly what happened to me. I didn't know anybody. I don't have no Uncle Sam. Heck, I'm from Africa. And then 14 years ago, I didn't even know how to say good morning in English, right? And I told that story somewhere else if you want to check that out. But basically, all I'm saying is there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing good when it comes to cybersecurity when nobody like myself have done it. Anyway, so you pick up about 3 jobs. You look at the skills that they're looking for. It looks like they're looking for AWS and Azure. And these are cloud security pays a lot of money. So don't keep an eye on the money. You're like, oh, that's exactly why I'm coming here, for the money. Look at this one. This one is really, really straightforward. It looks like it's really not that bad at all. Azure Architect certification. I'm going to be talking about all those in a minute. But you go over this, you can see they're looking for somebody with Microsoft Office experience, some kind of a DLP, data loss prevention experience, right? Look at that. And some of these are senior, so we don't want to do that. The other thing you can do, you can also write in a junior with a job position, like a junior penetration tester, junior this, junior that, and then they get, the jobs that doesn't require a bunch of experiences as well. So what you do, you find the 3 of those. You look for the skills that they're looking for, and then you start putting those skills into practice. That's it. That's the secret, guys. You start putting those skills into practice. All right, let me go back here and so I can sort of like summarize this. Finalize this. Now, once you've mastered your basics, right? Once you've mastered your basics, once you're going in, you got the skills that the hiring managers are looking for. Part of your study is going in and getting certification, getting certified. You get these people, they're everywhere telling you, don't get certified. It's just don't listen to those people, right? Majority of these people that are telling you don't do this, don't do that, they've done it. I mean, I used to be one of those guys not too long ago, right? So if you're in a position where you can get certified, get certified. If you're in a position of where you can get a degree, get the degree. Get the degree, right? And if you are one of those guys who might know somebody who can basically get you in without any of that stuff, then be that person, right? Basically, there's no right or wrong answer or wrong way of going by doing this. But what I'm trying to tell you is that if you go to college for cybersecurity, by the time you finish with college, cybersecurity is going to be completely different. So that's the only reason why I would not recommend a college degree, unless you're getting a CompuTest-based type of a degree, such as those that are offered by WGU. I graduated from WGU. I finished my degree in 4 months, my master's in 4 months. My bachelor's took me 4 years, but my master's 4 months, because they let you pay for about 6 months. Check them out. But what you can do, you get to something like WGU, you just get it done faster. Now you have a degree. Simple as that. When it comes to certifications, though, it can get really, really confusing very quickly. If I click on this thing from Paul Jeremy here, check this out. These are all cybersecurity certifications that you can study for. Yeah, like, oh my God. Absolutely. That's exactly what I thought first when I saw this. So it's overwhelming, right? Certifications have become a huge industry and the companies are making a lot of money off of these. Anyway, so you want to pick or talk to somebody who's there, who've done it, then who can help you pick the ones that really kind of matters, the ones that's going to bring you your return on your investment. You cannot go wrong with Security Plus. Absolutely. Cannot go wrong with Security Plus. You cannot definitely go wrong with CISSP. And you cannot go wrong with things like a GSEC from the SANS Institute. GSE, that's when you're the GOAT. Like that's like one of the very hard certificates. Hopefully one day I'll get one of those, but who knows? It's extremely expensive. That's another reason. Anyway, so certifications are important, but you got to be careful the kind of certifications you are going to be taking. So if we go back here for a minute, I'm going to show you a trick. There are certifications that comes with a lot of hands-on. And those are things like Elon Security. Elon Security, INE bought them. And I think INE is running. Literally, it's running Elon. Elon used to be cool. They used to have a certification known as EJPT. And that certification, everybody was talking about it until these guys bought them. Now, I don't know what's the vision with that. But the training comes with a bunch of hands-on and it helps you become a penetration tester. Another certification that's really good is the OSCP. OSCP, where are you? OSCP, there we go, this guy right here. This one is from Offensive Security, OffSec. OffSec is great. These are the creator of Kali Linux. If you don't know what Kali Linux is, maybe watch some of my other videos. Kali Linux, they're the creator of Kali Linux. It's great. You pass this certification, really, anybody who's looking for penetration testers, they're going to hire you because Kali Linux is the distribution that we use for pen testing. For the blue teamers, there are certifications from Security Blue Team. That's what they call their company. Security Blue Team, you have one of them is known as BTL1. BTL1. They also have a BTL2, which is like a higher, but BTL1 is great. If you just want to get into blue teaming, touch some of the things, I would check them out. Pretty good. Comes with a bunch of hands-on. But the problem with these certifications, though, they're not approved by the DoD. They don't have they're not as widely known, minus maybe OSCP, because OSCP been around for a very long time. But the other ones are not really that, they have not been marketed that well. So some people might not even, some hiring managers might not even know these. What you want to get, though, is something like Security Plus. Absolutely Security Plus. And then depends on what you want to specialize in. Pentest Plus is good. CISA Plus is good. I teach all of these. Check out the website. But also some certifications from EC Council, things like Certified Ethical Hacker. They're all really okay. They're really good. They're not hands-on heavy, but they've been around for a very long time, and they're approved by a lot of these hiring managers. My pro tip to you is to get both. Look, this is the industry that can pay you over $100,000 a year without you spending thousands in colleges and stuff. So why not get both? Literally, get both, right? So that's the pro tip, get both. And I would not say get a SANS certification because it's extremely expensive. It's like $8,000. And then just for the training. If you go in, you put in the exam, it can literally easily go over $10,000 for just 1 week of a training. So it's a little bit ridiculous what the SANS does. But anyway, if you get hired and your employer is willing to pay for the SANS, go for it. They got the best of the best instructors in the game right now. So that would be it. Don't listen to anybody that tells you don't get this cert, don't get that cert. Look, so it's just sitting around and doing nothing. That's not an option. Get the cert if you are in the situation where to get this cert. Right? It will help you as well. Over the years, I've collected tens of these. Right? It's like I think I have 20 now. I forgot count now, but I am not stopping. I am not stopping. But collect as many of these as you can. They will help you. Now, once you got the certification, once you got the training, the college, you got to get some hands-on experience. One of the best way to get some hands-on experience, especially if you want to focus on a red teaming, is to capture the flag. They call this a CTF competition. So what happens in a CTF competition, they hide a flag, right? They had something like a hash. They had that thing somewhere. And then your job is to find it. Yeah, your job is to find it. And there are platforms that can help you do that. Hack the Box being one of the best. Try HackMate's one of the easiest one that you can start with. And then, MITRE also is pretty good. And then you have CTF time there as well. These are all great places for you to start challenging yourself. They have virtual machines in the cloud. All you do, you just go spin up the virtual machines and start doing start capturing the flag. Pro tip for you, use a walkthrough first. Don't sit there struggling through it, try to figure stuff out. Don't do that. Google just a quickly walkthrough of whatever challenge you're trying to solve. Just walk through that walkthrough. Like follow the steps of whoever that person did. Because there's thousands of these walkthrough on the web. Right? Just Google that and just follow that. Once you finish going over that with the walkthrough, try to do it on your own. All right, that's gonna kind of force you to remember some stuff, and that's what you want. Because you are building your hands-on experience at this point. So that's for red teaming. That's when you want to become an ethical hacker. But what about for the blue teamers? Well, I've listed a few here. I've used about 4 of these in the past. In schools, African Institute of Technology, we used to use Range Force, which was pretty good. But anyway, so Blue Team Labs is from the company, the Security Blue Team company that I showed you. They're pretty good. They're very focused on Blue Team. I like their stuff. So if you want to do things like malware analysis, threat hunting, SIEM investigations, they're pretty good. You're going to love them. Range Force, like I said, they're really, really good. really, really good. They have different path. They even have the cloud path. They even have the IoT, the Internet of Things path. I love them. I've used them in the past. Cyber Range, I've also used the Cyber Range before, but not so much. Cyberbit, yes. And this one, the people who created Cyberbit are the same people who do cybersecurity. They got the whole thing from the Israeli guys. You know, us in cybersecurity, we admire those Israeli guys. So definitely check out Cyberbit. And they also have a walkthrough. They not walkthrough. They have the ranges, the cyber ranges, labs portion, but they're huge on MITRE. They're really huge on MITRE, and I really like their stuff. It's the most realistic there is. The other ones, it's like, you know, open source tools, like a bunch of free stuff. With Cyberbit, they have a commercial stuff. I'm talking about the Splunk. I'm talking about the paid tools. They have that in there as well. Let's Defend is great. It's making a name for itself. I know like two guys who've used it and they recommended it to me. I have not used it, Let's Defend, but I've heard a lot of good things about them. That's Blue Teamer. I mean, if you want to become a Blue Teamer, you want to build your hands-on labs. So my recommendation of those labs, you know, so going in and using those range forces and the try hack me, those capture the flags, all that's great. Some of you might be like, you know what? I want to start something from scratch, right? I don't want Kali to be pre-installed for me. I want to start from installing Kali and then build on top of that. Well, that's where a home lab will be pretty good, right? So I do have a hands-on labs for cyber pros. Check that one out. I'm going to be posting that very, very soon. The entire setup is going to be free on YouTube. But if you want to do additional stuff like using Wireshark and TCP dump and all these other things, you're going to have to go to the website as well and then do that there. But I want to kind of build that thing from scratch. I'll show you how to build labs from scratch. This is going to be the ultimate lab for those that are just trying to build everything from scratch. The only issue with building things from scratch is that you must have a computer that's capable, computer that can actually do it. So that's the only issue. That's why I would recommend the last two things that I mentioned before you can dive into building things from scratch. If you're building from scratch, you're going to need a VirtualBox. You're going to need a hypervisor. VirtualBox is great, but VMware, it's even better. Proxmox is great. I've heard a lot of things about Proxmox, but the only things I've used, it's VirtualBox and VMware. If you want to go pro, this is what I am currently doing right now, is do this with the physical hardware. You can grab those things from eBay, very, very cheap. I do have like a firewall there, like you can see it, but it's there somewhere. It's called Firewalla. The name is Firewalla. So there's a firewall there. I have a few other things that you can see here, switches and routers and things like that. So I'm trying to build these things from scratch. The only issue with going this is that for somebody like us who are passionate about this, you got to balance it. Otherwise, you know, you might not get out of the room because there's always a problem to solve. Like you can zero in into these things and just forget that it's time to eat. But definitely go pro, buy physical hardware, connect all of them, configure all of them, and then go from there. But I would recommend you do the other stuff first before you go all in, all pro. You can also go with the cloud. Free tiers are available with AWS and Azure. I'm sure Google also do have some kind of a free tiers. But again, you have like a whole year for free, and you can, you know, spin up virtual machines in the cloud and then not get charged, right? So that's okay, but I would be careful with that because if you overuse it, it's going to start charging you, and you don't want that. So another thing that I mentioned that's going to help you build your hands-on experience is backbone. Backbone is one of the best way to get experience while you are getting paid. So what happens is a company such as Coinbase, for example, they set up, actually, let me show you this right quickly. If I go to HackerOne, And let me sign in. HackerOne is one of the best platform when it comes to bug bounties. There was a marketing campaign of a guy who became a millionaire, literally millionaire from doing the bug bounties. And he was featured on HackerOne because most of what he was doing was on HackerOne. So bug bounties, you got these companies, they're all going on platforms like HackerOne. They're all, kind of let me go to directory. They're all going here. They're telling everybody, hey, look, you can hack us, and here's what you can hack. Let me show you this. Let's say we go to Coinbase. If you know Coinbase is the crypto company, and then I click on that Coinbase. This is how it looks like. And when you scroll down, they're going to tell you, look, these are the rewards. For a low vulnerability, a low bug, we just pay you up to $400. For something that's critical, we can pay you up to $1 million. So if you find something that's very, very critical, voila, you're a millionaire, my friend. You're a millionaire. Right? But anyway, so you scroll down here, you start seeing the things that they let you attack. Start seeing what's in the scope. They tell you anything at Coinbase.com, you can attack the heck out of that, right? And then they tell you the things that's outside of this scope. So don't social engineering anybody. Right? Don't be calling, Coinbase the employees and try to trick them and play some games with them. Anyway, once you find a vulnerability, a weakness, you can submit the report here. I tell them if it's a critical, then they pay you $1 million. Best way to get experience as you are getting paid. So HackerOne is great. I love it. But Bug Crowd is another one. Snack's another one. Open Bug Bounty. This is free. It's open source. Google, Microsoft, all these bigger companies, they all have programs they can participate in. They're all paying millions and millions of dollars for the people who find the vulnerabilities, then report those bugs to them. Right. So here's my secret sauce. And this is what everybody's not telling you. For you to break into cybersecurity, it will require you to put in the work. All right. It's a hard work. I tell you that. I mean, imagine you're making over $100,000 a year. Come on. Right. I mean, you got to put in the work. So you can just study for a week and then be like, oh, voila, I'm ready to go. So my recommendation is this. If you do the self-study route where you just study everything on your own, which is the cheapest route to go, by the way, you need to start a blog. Then you need to start blogging everything that you're doing, right? So build a portfolio. The things that you are working with, just document those things. Write it down. Medium is a very great place to start, right? You can create like a very good looking kind of a post or blog there. I read a lot of things from Medium. They're, technical from these guys who created these things. Anyway, so Medium is a great place to start. Then the beauty of you having that portfolio there, you can include it on your resume. If you decide to go some kind of application, pen testing, anything like that, or you contribute to some kind of an open source tool, GitHub is another great place to be. Right? So document your process through GitHub as well. Twitter. A lot of cybersecurity professionals, they are on Twitter. So definitely Twitter. LinkedIn. If you don't like writing, Twitter, X now. I don't know why I keep saying Twitter, but X, the X platforms allows you to upload videos now. And LinkedIn, short videos will do. I'm gonna tell you, in like a few years ago, I'm talking about like 4 years ago, I started posting things on LinkedIn, right? Like small clips, videos of the things that I was doing. When I was teaching class, I would just snatch a few video clips, then I'll post those on LinkedIn. I had a people from the SANS Institute. This guy was a director of the SANS Institute. SANS, just end there. The SANS Institute reaching out to me, asking me if I'm interested in teaching for the SANS. Now, if you don't know the SANS, these are like, it's like when you work for the SANS, you are the man. So they're really good at what they do. That's why they charge all that money. They're really good at what they do. They basically train. They even do the training for the CIA, the NSA, like these government agencies. They do training for those uh, institutions. But the guy reached out to me because of the things that I posted on social media. You got to market yourself. You got to share things, create a YouTube channel if you can, like start posting things on social media, showcase your skills, show people, hey, look, this is what I can do. Right? That's the world we live in now. Because people can lie about all kinds of stuff. But when it comes to cybersecurity, yeah, they're gonna need you to prove to them that you can do that kind of stuff. Okay, so again, these are all great platforms for you to go in and start creating that a blog and then start documenting the things that you're doing. And the last, this one, it's work for free. Yeah, it's volunteering. Most people don't want to hear this, but especially if you have like a full-time job, you're like, oh my goodness, he's telling me to volunteer. What's wrong with this guy? Well, I know this is not exactly what you want to hear, but this is another way, another great way to build your hands-on experience, like your hands-on skills. So find a church, find some kind of an online community, find a nonprofit organization. They're always looking for people. If you're gonna show up to them and tell them, "Hey, look, I can do this for free for you," they're gonna accept that. There was a lady who became my TA, my teaching assistant. I hired her because of this. Because of this. So whenever we were teaching, she was just posting things and start like documenting things and helping other students. I'm like, I need you in my team. Right. So when you do that kind of stuff, they pay attention. They pay attention. You're building your skills. But what I learned over the years is that when you go in and you help people, same thing happens really. Somebody else will be there to help you out as well. So if you work for some company, yes, still volunteer. I know some people, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't do any work that I don't get paid for. Volunteer. Trust me. It's gonna work well for you. If you work for a company, find these cyber people. Every company have cybersecurity department, big companies. If you work for one, I don't care the kind of job you're in. If you work for one, don't leave your job. Don't quit your job yet. Just start studying cybersecurity and then start connecting with these people who are doing IT and cyber. Become their friends, start asking them the kind of program that they're working on, the kind of things they're working on, then help them. Help them stay after work. Literally stay after work and be like, hey, look, what you working on that I can help you with? Yeah, look, I have some interest in cybersecurity. What can I do for you? Okay. Then I can volunteer, take some kind of an internship, especially if you're like a high school kid and you're just trying to get into cybersecurity. Take internships, even if you are a little bit older and you're trying to break in. Internships are really, really good as well. Contributes to open source projects. For those who can program, go in and contribute to some of these open source projects. Then obviously involved in communities, involved in online forums or communities. The more you show up, it's gonna notice. That's for sure. And then last but not least, you got to start networking. Networking. Especially if you're like me and you don't know anybody. You don't have anybody. You don't have like an uncle who's in cybersecurity. Like you don't know anybody in cybersecurity. That's me. That's this guy. So you got to network. You got to go into these rooms and start shaking hands, right? LinkedIn is your best friend. Look, at some point I posted this on social media. I reached out to a guy who created a Metasploit. If you don't know, Metasploit is the tool we use when we're hacking. It's a framework that's used for attacking things. And this guy is considered like the OG of cybersecurity. So what I did, I reached out to him like, hey, his name is HD Moore. It's like, hey, Mr. HD Moore, I know you don't have any time. I know you're busy, but if you have a minute to respond, I'd appreciate your response. If you were to get started in cybersecurity, how would you do it? Literally, how would you do it? What are some of the things that you can do different now that you've been there, you've done that? And he got back to me. He told me about certifications. He told me the certification to focus on, and on and on and on. But again, that was on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is your best friend. Go there, start networking with people, reach out to them as you are kind of making a name for yourself. Then go to conferences, literally, maybe try virtual conferences. I don't like virtual ones because most people are really not there. But if you can go to the live conferences like DEF CON, ShmoCon is great, right? DerbyCon, like the B-sides, Just Google B-sides in your city. I don't know where you live, but even in Kenya, they have B-sides, right? In one of these, African, they have B-sides. B-sides are everywhere. I live in Atlanta. We have a B-sides in Atlanta. They have another B-sides in Augusta, which is 2 hours away from me. I always drive there. This year I'm going. I was there last year. So you got to network. You got to go to these events. You got to shake hands with these people. Some of these people are the managers. Some of these people are just they're there to hire people, literally. So network, network, network. Okay. And then once you're ready, give a talk. I found that to be a really, really good way to put yourself out there. It will make you very uncomfortable. Trust me when I'm telling you. 14 years ago, I didn't know how to say good morning in English, right? But I've made myself uncomfortable many times, right? So you got to go in there, get yourself uncomfortable. I had a mentor who told me that there's no growth in your comfort zone, right? If you stay in your little lane and be like, you know what, this is all me, you can grow out of that. Go out there, make yourself uncomfortable, give those talks, right? Post that thing that you feel like you're just getting started or you're a beginner. There's no such a thing. There's no such a thing as posting something that you're so beginner. Somebody's going to find that thing valuable somehow. So just go out there and start making that happen, right? You can also start a study group. Also join your local chapters. Right now, I am a volunteer for a chapter that's for ISACA ATL chapters. So I am their director of communication, literally. So I'm dealing with the LinkedIn, sending out emails, like just putting events together. We just had like a geek week where like we invited all these speakers to talk. So get involved, network, shake hands. You don't know who's going to take you to that next level. With that, I'm going to leave you with this. And then I wish each one of you absolutely the best. And I know you all going to do great. Just get started and keep going. Don't look back. It will get hard, but that's the nature of the new stuff. Every time you're trying to learn something new, it gets hard in the beginning. But once you know what you're doing, it becomes, you start, kind of, it becomes your passion. You start, falling in love with what you do. That's because you're comfortable now. That's because you know what you're doing now, right? So with that, I'm going to leave you with this, and I will see you guys around. And if you haven't subscribed yet, again, please subscribe. If you got value out of this video, do subscribe. And let's keep building this YouTube community. And I will see you guys in the next videos. Take care. Bye-bye.